All right. Hey, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
How you doing?
Good. You?
I'm doing all right.
All right.
I mean, since we've last drank bourbon together, you survived. You've lived to be a half century old.
I have lived through that. I have lived through it. I ended up by myself at the fire pit about 2 o'clock in the morning. I outlasted them all. So.
That's good. And hopefully, the good thing about being a bourbon fan is when you have an occasion like a birthday or Christmas, it's easy to buy us gifts, people. We're not even really that picky.
No, we're not picky at all. You leave a bottle, I will drink a
Yeah,
bottle. That's
absolutely.
how it works.
Absolutely. Well, and happy Thanksgiving. I know that as we're recording this, that was just a day ago. So I think I'm recovered for the most part. So, But anyway, but you're the host with the most. So
we had 23 in the house yesterday, so it was a big day.
Well, it's all good. I love Thanksgiving. Yeah. It's my favorite time because I just love the food, and it's good to see family that you don't get to see all that often. Yeah. So usually there's a entertaining story or two, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm telling them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you and I both watch a fair amount of bourbon content. Yeah. And often those that do bourbon tasting, sometimes they'll do budget bourbons.
Yes.
And I've always been a little bit curious about it because I don't buy a lot of budget. If I can speak, budget bourbons. No, I haven't had any yet. But recently I decided, I see them not all the time, but like you can see this Evan Williams bottled and bond just about everywhere.
Places. Yeah. Most places.
Now the early times is a mystery to me, a little bit.
Absolute mystery.
Now, I'll say I have had a sip of that. And then this ancient age. Now, what I've heard about the ancient age is you should really try to get the ancient age, but I've never seen it.
I've never even heard of it.
Just, from a little bit of context, I'm going a little bit from memory here. I think this Evan Williams bottle and bond, memory serves us around $20.
Yeah. You should be able to get it for under that.
And you can find it probably just about anywhere where you're buying any sort of bourbon or liquor at all.
Yeah.
Early times a little bit harder to find. I actually got this one at the Hoosier Q place in Foxcliff.
Okay.
So folks, I posted a video on the Hoosier Q a few days ago or a couple weeks ago, whenever it was. 700 bottles in his collection. And the food, it's pretty cool. Like Amanda's like, oh my gosh, this is like your Disney World. I'm like, yeah, I guess. So I just walked around and looked at the bill, all the bottles. While I'm thinking about it, I want to encourage you all to give a thumbs up if you enjoy this content. If you have suggestions on things that we should try, let us know. Twist our arm, make us go find something, right?
We will do it.
Now, the urban legend that I've heard about this early times. Mm-hmm. Is there's the black cap versus the blue cap. I think the black cap was when it was Brown Foreman,
right?
And the blue cap is when Sazerac, which is the basically the owner of all the Buffalo Trace line. The blue cap but theoretically it's the same juice.
It's supposed to be.
But a lot of people who are enthusiasts swear it's different. So I can't. I've never seen a black cap. Right. I don't find the blue caps that often, honestly.
No, but I'm surprised you found that one.
Yeah, $26, and this is a full liter. That's prorated. I think I figured out it was like $22 or whatever. So check the math. And then this ancient age. Yeah, I left the price tag on it for nostalgia purposes. Yeah, $9.95. So these are all 3 budget bourbons, and we're gonna do a little bit of tasting of each of these today, and kind of give you our impressions on. Buy or not buy or good or not good. So where do you want to start?
Let's start on your end.
All right, so go ahead. Now, I have historically been kind of a person that swirls, and I read something recently that swirling may not be the best way to do it because swirling it kind of releases the alcohol vapors. Now I don't know this. So you all probably know better than me. The suggested technique was to kind of roll it in your glass, but I don't know. I mean, I guess to each their own. Now, I have had this one a couple times. Not a whole bunch. This is the first bottle I've ever bought. Any thoughts on the nose?
It has kind of that classic bourbon
it does.
Smell to it. I mean, the nose is very classic bourbon. I mean, the nose is that of a more higher end even Evan Williams.
Yeah. And the thing that folks, you should know, this is bottled in bond. So that tells us something about this. We know it's going to be 100 proof.
Yeah.
We know that it's at least 4 years old. So, and we know it's been or everything about it. Like I think the bottled in bond means that it has to be made in one season, right? Where they harvest the grains and then ferment and then bottle it and everything, or ferment or distill it. And then you put it in the barrels. It all has to be in the same season.
Which makes the price point even more amazing.
It does, because bottle and bond is it's kind of a level of quality, so to speak, right? It gives you a little bit of a badge or a characteristic about it. So the fact that you can get this for $20 and know that it's at least 4 years old,
right,
and all those sorts of things. I mean, something about it. Yeah, classic bourbon on the nose. Yeah. It's good. I don't know that there's any one note that sticks out more than another.
A little peppery. But,
there is some pepper.
But it's pretty, to be honest with you, it's pretty smooth for what you're, I mean, the price point, you don't expect that.
I mean, it's not a lot of complexity.
No.
But I would say I've had some other things in this price point. I'll leave the names out of it. There's no depth in some of the other things that are in this category. I think there's a little bit of depth, but it's not super complex. There's not like you said, a little bit of peppery taste. It doesn't burn, very smooth. You know, I would say classic bourbon.
Yeah, it's classic bourbon. Especially somebody who's new to bourbon.
Oh, 100%.
This is something that they could really kind of sink your teeth into.
Yeah, you're not going to break the bank. You're not. It's not a terrible gamble. If you're like a little bit curious about bourbon,
right,
this is a good one to start with for sure. Yes. So, all right, don't feel obligated to slug it all.
Yeah, and it's especially at the price point. If this was a daily sipper for you, you could easily do that.
100%.
So,
and if you prefer to use whiskey as a mixer or something like that, this would be a great thing for that as well. So I'm pleased with this.
I am too. I think for the money, it is well worth the purchase.
Absolutely. So good value.
Yeah,
good
and
value.
it's something I keep on the shelf, and it's something I will continue to keep on the shelf.
And like I said, this is the first Evan Williams bottled and bond that I've purchased, and when this goes down, I'll definitely have another one.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's worth it.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to the next one. This is Early Times, also bottled in bond. So that tells us something about this one. And this is, again, part of the Sazerac family, or the Buffalo Trace. Might be a name you're more familiar with versus Sazerac. Used to be a Brown-Forman, which Brown-Forman is the owner of Jack Daniels, Old Forester, and probably a lot of other products out there. But anyway. It's kind of similar.
It's a little similar, yeah.
It's more pleasant, actually, I think. Now that I go back to Evan Williams, I almost smell a little bit more ethanol.
Yeah.
So this one doesn't have really that note to me on the nose.
No, it's a softer on the nose. It's definitely softer on the nose.
Yeah.
Maybe a floral.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Again, very classic smell.
Oh, yeah.
I think from a bourbon standpoint.
Yeah.
So again, this is $26 for a 1 liter. So again, that's from a value perspective, a price point perspective. It's got more complexity.
It does.
See, I pick up a little bit of an oaky note on the front.
There's definitely more oak. There's not a ton of heat to it. There's a little bit of pepper on the back end.
Yeah.
But
it's not quite as smooth as the Evan Williams, in my opinion.
No, it's
still a good drink, though.
It is. It's just.
This one has more complexity, I think, than nothing against Evan Williams. Evan Williams, a great pour.
Yeah.
But to me, this has a little bit more depth.
And there's definitely the oak is there.
The oak is there.
This one.
I mean, oak is a weird thing for me. Sometimes it can be crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Speaking of like oak, I'm sure you've had the Woodford double oak.
Yeah.
To me, that's
I had it for breakfast today.
That's perfection as far as like
the
oakiness taste. Yeah. And I'm not going to be so bold as to claim that this has oakiness like that.
Right.
But it resembles that, right?
It does.
And there's some that are out there that's like, oh, it's just way too oaky.
It's like chewing on bark or something.
It is. It's like, I don't mind a little oak, but I'm not trying to make acorns here.
Right.
You know?
I think it depends on where they get the wood for the barrels and all this stuff. And it's just some people have perfected that.
Yeah. So. All right. So here's the
this is the ultimate test right here.
The wild card here. This is ancient age Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is we know these two are 100 proof because they're bottle and bond. So this one's an 80 proofer. I believe this is also part of the Sazerac family. This was $9.95 El Cheapo. So, I mean, just looking at the color, it is a lot lighter than the other two. Does it have an age statement that I found?
At least 36 months.
Okay, so it's at least 36 months.
Yeah.
So it tells us something. I mean, still youngish as far as bourbons are concerned, but nothing on the nose. Man.
Zero. That's unreal.
Nothing on the nose at all.
This could get you in trouble.
Maybe we should have started with this one.
Yeah, this will get you in trouble. Yeah, because it does.
I'm searching. There's not much there.
There's just not much there. That is surprising.
Yeah. There's probably a reason it's not 95.
I guess, yeah.
It's not bad.
You can drink it almost a little bit like water because there's not a lot to it. There's not much. It's odd for a bourbon. There's not much nose. There's not much. I mean, nothing really jumps out at you.
No, I mean, I'm glad I bought it. I mean, I didn't break the bank here for $9.95. Not a huge gamble. Again, though, if somebody's curious about bourbon,
it would definitely ease you into it. It
would ease you into it. Proof point is 80 proof.
Yeah.
Which I typically prefer higher proof stuff, not always. But the proof is you're not gonna be hurting for this. You're not gonna be hurting from the cost. You're gonna get sort of the idea of what bourbon is like, right. I think.
Yeah.
If you don't like this, I think there's a chance you still might like bourbon.
Right.
If you don't like this, maybe try one of these other two because I think that's going to be a better bourbon experience.
Yeah, if I was going to have some, I would have someone try this.
Yeah.
And then probably, I don't know, the early times in the Evan Williams, just drink a little smoother.
Yeah.
But
it's like bourbon flavored water.
This.
Yeah.
It really is. It's surprising because there's no bite to it at all.
No.
There's no nose to it at all.
No.
And there's no, I can't pull, there's no fruit, there's no apricots, there's no anything into this, the vanilla.
Just basic.
It's just very basic.
Yeah. All right. So thoughts. I mean, you've had this, you bought this.
I've had that, bought that.
And you've already said you'll buy it again.
Early times, I would, if I find it, I'm going to buy it.
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these, like both of these are good enough to think, why do I spend more than $20 on bourbon? But,
If I ever run out of bourbon at my house, I know this is here, I'll be over. But I don't know if I'll buy it.
Yeah, in an emergency.
I'll come to Spears' house and I'll just drink this.
Well, it'll probably still be here, so that's okay. But again, I'm glad I got it. I'm curious. Like I said, I've heard about this ancient age, which is supposed to be, significantly better. If I ever find that, I'll grab it, and maybe we'll do a side by side. But any other parting thoughts on this before we wrap this?
No, I'm glad we did this because the early times was very surprising.
Yeah,
I mean, it just
I liked it.
It's a good tasting bourbon for the price point, bottle and bond, and it's like you said, it isn't the easiest to find. But if you find it, it's worth the pickup.
One of these days, and we might need a third party to help this, but we should do a blind, like a double, like both of you and I are blind.
Yeah.
And give I could probably, not today, but like Amanda did a blind the other night.
Yeah.
Just for me, to see how good I was about picking stuff out that was on the shelf. But it'd be interesting to kind of mix in something like this into some of the higher end stuff to see, how it fares with that.
I think it'd be a good idea.
So we'll have to do that here in the future. But, All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all soon.